What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back with some more takeaways of the Leeds victory 4-3 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday in a brilliant game. I'm joined by Brian Daigle to see 5 things we can learn from this game. And number 1 is underrated Bentancur, and he got the 2 goals, including the match winner late in the game to save Tottenham's skin. He actually had a brilliant game overall, and obviously it capped off with 2 late goals. During the game, he won 4 of his 8 ground duels. He committed 2 tackles, 2 interceptions, and obviously he got the 2 goals late in the game, and that takes his tally for the season to 7 goals and assists, and it triggered Kulusevski to say he is the one of the most underrated players in world football, which has triggered a conversation. Is that true? But it was a brilliant performance, wasn't it, by Bentancur? But how underrated do you think he is?
It was a phenomenal performance by him. He has become Mr. Dependable, Mr. Reliable. He has added goals to his game. He's added creativity to his game. Anything good that's come in the last 8-9 games, he's been key to it. He's exceeded all my expectations that I would have thought within the first year of him being there, and I think he is highly underrated. I think he has been not getting the plaudits that he deserves. Obviously, you have players like De Bruyne who do what De Bruyne does constantly and rightly gets recognition, but I think now people need to be talking about Bentancur a lot more. For me, one of the most informed midfielders in the Premier League, if not the most informed Premier League midfielder, and it's just a joy to watch him. And how lucky are we for what was it, £19 million?
Yeah.
When you're looking for pound for pound value, then you're talking underrated. Yeah, because that price is a snip.
Yeah, absolute bargain, and 7 goals and assists as well now this season. He's really adding these contributions to his game, and he's we've said it before during the last few weeks, but he's really becoming that all-round midfielder. And again, he capped off what a brilliant last few weeks it's been for him with the 2 late winners, and what a brilliant performance has Bentancur showing week in, week out. So hopefully he keeps it up. But what a player, and I'm hope he continues this trajectory, and hopefully he has a good World Cup as well. Next up, we have Deki's return. Obviously, Dejan Kulusevski returned to the starting 11 for the first time since his injury, and he put in a brilliant performance to cap it off. He completed 5 dribbles, 4 key passes, 2 big chances created, and obviously got 1 assist near the end, but obviously was involved in 2 of the goals in the second half. It was a brilliant performance from Kulusevski. He's giving the fullback no end of problems throughout the game. With he completed 4 dribbles into the penalty area and 5 passes into the penalty area as well. So was really a nuisance throughout. And he now has 1 goal and 5 assists in 9 starts in the Premier League. So when he's been on the pitch, he's been brilliant by and large, and he really adds that creative spark and that final third kind of decision making, which is lacking when he's not there. And it was a brilliant return to the starting 11 for him.
Yeah, the figures when he's on the pitch don't lie. The way we play when he's off the pitch, you can see the difference, especially on the creative part. And I am putting him now in one of those brackets of Elka players where people know what he's going to do, you just don't know how to stop it. Wonderfully gifted on both feet. He is such an integral part of this, and at 22 years old, I can't think of another youngster that's come into this league and had such an impact as he had. And like you said, we were talking the other day, Simeon, about it, with the World Cup and just a hamstring. You can get hamstring just as easy as running. He's come back from a nasty one, and it's like he hasn't been away. He set such a high bar, hasn't he? Within the first year of him being here, the bar we were talking just now as well. Most assists since January when he came last season. I think he's pretty much probably up around there again, or at least within the top 3, 5 maybe. He is just a wonderful, wonderful player. It's such a relief to see him back, and now he gets a month because Sweden are at the World Cup to focus on his fitness again, and I can't wait to see this guy develop. He's just a wonderful player that we have.
He just seems to know what to do in the final third. He seems to know what the right pass is and when to make that pass, and he always seems to, more often than not, make the right decision. And he's just a fantastic player.
Do you know who I'm liking him to?
Who?
And don't get it twisted when I say this, because he's got a long way to go to be this. He's got ice in his veins like Dennis Bergkamp. I'm not saying he is Dennis Bergkamp, but Dennis Bergkamp always knew the right decision. And when you look at it, even the cross for Emerson, when he skied it, he just knows the right pass, the right weight, the right time. And please God, he turns into a Dennis Bergkamp-esque player, but he's just got ice in his boots, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has amazing composure for such a young player. Next up, number 3 is Familiar Star, and Spurs conceded the first goal for the 8th consecutive game yesterday, which is quite an astonishing stat when you think about it. And it's also the 6th game in a row domestically where they have conceded at least 2 goals, and with 5 of them also going 2-0 down. We didn't go 2-0 down yesterday, so we stopped that rot, I guess, you could say. But for 8 games in a row, we've conceded the first goal, and how we haven't kind of dealt with that issue is quite amazing for 8 games in a row for that to happen. But our defence is definitely holding us back, considering, for goals scored, we're quite high up on the pitch. But in terms of the starting of games, another sloppy start yesterday, another game where we conceded the first goal and we were losing at half-time. And it really is something we have to improve on if we're going to have a good second half of the season.
Without doubt. Hopefully this familiar start will become very unfamiliar in the second part of the season. But yeah, you can telegraph it, can't you? You just know it's going to happen, and it's happened all season. But at least, like you said, we've ended one stat. We didn't score in the first half. Yeah. So that's another stat that we did end. So. It has been all too familiar, and as you said, Simeon, and you're right, it's the defence that is the gaping hole. It's the wound that we can't seem to heal, and hopefully we can in January, because that's been the downfall of us throughout the season, hasn't it? Yeah, definitely. And when we praise our players, we're all often praising Kulusevski and Bentancur and all midfielders and attackers, but not often praising our defensive players, and there must be a reason for it. And I think it's because they're letting us down a lot this season. Number 4, with our familiar starts, we have a never say die attitude, and despite the fact we've conceded 8 goals in 8 games in a row, the first goal, Spurs have won 13 points from losing positions this season. Maybe it's because we've been losing positions so often, but we have won 13 points this season from losing positions, which is more than any other side in the Premier League. So despite the fact that we do concede the first goal very often, you have to credit the attitude, desire and mentality to continually come back and earn results. And it was another win earned from a losing position yesterday, and it was another late turnaround following from Bournemouth not so long ago. And we do have that kind of mentality within us to fight back. And there's, if we could have this attitude without constantly conceding the first goal, we could be a real force to be reckoned with. But it's a shame we have to keep coming back, but at least we do have the mentality to do that. Yeah, I mean, like you said, for me, it's a good stat as well as a bad stat. It's a bad stat that we get ourselves into this situation that we have to try and dig ourselves out. But it's a huge positive that more times than not we are able to dig ourselves out of it. It's something we've got to break. We had this with Pochettino as well, didn't we? With the late goals, and you got to remember with him as well, fitness was key. Fitness was a major part of Poch's philosophy, and it looks like the fitness work that we put in, even though at times we do look tired in that first half, that never say die attitude, that fight till the final whistle, it's paying off for us, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. And I think that's something that Conte's definitely instilled in this team. Obviously, we saw it last season at times, Leicester away and Man City away, where, in moments in games it would have been very easy for us to get our heads down in the dumps and not got the result we did. And we've carried that onto this season. It's just about finding the right balance now within the team in terms of how we keep conceding that first goal and having to come back late. But hopefully we can find that balance, because I think we can be a very good team under this manager if we give them the right players. But next up, last but not least, lots to fight for, and going into the second half of the season, we go into the World Cup in a good position, 4th in the table with 29 points, 3 points behind second. In second place, Man City, which is if I told you we'd be 3 points behind Man City going into the World Cup, you probably would have said taken that. Also into the last 16 of the Champions League, so we're in a very good position with lots to fight for. 6 points
is clear as the time recording of Man United. Obviously, they got 2 games in hand on the time recording. But Conte has definitely positioned us after the World Cup with lots to fight for. And in terms of stats, 3rd for goals scored, 12th for goals against. So we know where the problems lie.
Yep.
But when people get angry and upset with how Conte is managing the team, I just don't understand, because with what he has to work with, to have us in this position, I think he's doing a fantastic job. And hopefully he gets backed in January and he gets the players he needs to help us build and progress. But he's left us in a very good position where we could easily given ourselves a lot to do in the second half of the season. But the position he's left us in, we're in a good position. So there's a lot to look forward to in the second half of the season for me.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, we've all been saying, would you have taken 4th at the beginning of the season when you said that? Yes, we would have. But that stat that you just said, just 3 points behind Manchester City, that, for me, you'd think you'd be second if you're saying 3 points behind Man City, but that's where it is. We still got to play them twice, and we know that we're their bogey team, so who knows, we could be above them, level with them by the time we play the first one with them. And yeah, there is lots to look forward to. As you said, we can clearly see where we need to focus our attention in January. Let's hope we do. But yeah, 4th in the league, in the Champions League, AC Milan. Make of it what you will with that tie. It's a tough competitive tie, and the FA Cup still to come, so there is lots to look forward to. And I think, like you said, Simeon, if someone has said 4th by the World Cup break or 3 points behind City, every single one of us would have bitten your hand off for it. So there is lots to fight for.
All right, well, those are your 5 takeaways going into the World Cup now. So lots of content coming up surrounding that. But that is it for Tottenham until December the 26th, where we're back against Brentford. So those are your last 5 takeaways for the World Cup. Brian, thank you for joining me today in the studio. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.